Chosen one, listen to your body right now. Pay close attention to what your heart is telling you, what your spirit is warning you. That heaviness you feel when you hear their key in the door, or the sudden wave of exhaustion that hits when their name flashes across your phone screen. Those aren't just physical sensations. Those are the early signs that your spirit is detecting a spiritual ambush. You may think it's anxiety, maybe stress, or even just fatigue, but it's not. It's something deeper, something more profound. This is your discernment speaking to you, your higher self alerting you to a battle that's about to unfold right in front of you. God is guiding you to this very moment because an emergency is happening in your life right now. It's a spiritual test, and it's happening sooner than you expect. Right now, someone close to you is being used as bait. You may not even realize it yet, but there's an enemy strategy unfolding. The enemy is betting everything on your reaction. He wants to provoke you, to get under your skin, to make you fight back with anger, frustration, or hurt. He wants you to defend yourself, to argue, to let your emotions take the wheel and guide you into a trap. But God is saying, do not fall for it. The test you're about to face is not about winning an argument. It's not about defending your reputation, your character, or your stance. This test is about your ability to see the trap before it even springs. Can you recognize the bait and walk away, unscathed, without reacting the way you usually do? This is the real challenge. It's a test not of strength or intellect, but of your spiritual maturity and discernment. The moment has arrived for you to rise to the occasion and pass this trial with the wisdom of God leading you. The emergency is unfolding within your immediate circle, and it's not an accident. What you are feeling is not random, nor is it a coincidence. It's a direct spiritual attack meant to challenge your peace, your stability, and your progress. Someone you trust, someone you have allowed into your inner circle, is being used as a vessel for this attack. The enemy doesn't always come at us from the outside, from people we don't know. More often than not, the most dangerous attacks come from those closest to us. It's not the strangers who try to take us down, it's the ones who have access to our hearts, our vulnerabilities, our deepest wounds. This betrayal, this test, it's not just coming out of nowhere. It's the enemy's attempt to derail you right as you are stepping into a higher level of spiritual growth, right as you are on the brink of a massive breakthrough. The enemy wants to make you stumble before you cross the threshold of your next level of promotion. But here's the truth you must hold on to. This attack, this test, is not a sign that God has abandoned you. Quite the opposite. It is a confirmation that you are on the edge of something greater. You are standing at the threshold of your divine elevation, and the enemy's attack is merely the final obstacle you must overcome to step into the fullness of your purpose. This is not just any test. This is the confirmation that you are closer than ever to receiving the spiritual mantle God has prepared for you. You need to prepare yourself, not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally. The enemy is going to try to lure you into a reaction, to get you to engage in the chaos. But you must understand that this is a test of your ability to remain calm, to see the situation for what it is, and to not allow your emotions to drive you. This is about learning to detach from the emotional triggers and to respond from a place of spiritual authority. God has equipped you with everything you need to pass this test. But you must be willing to listen to Him and trust that His plan is greater than the trap being set before you. The urgency of this moment is clear. Your response today will determine your next step on this spiritual journey. Are you ready to face this challenge with the strength and wisdom that God has already instilled in you? You must be prepared. because the battle has already begun. And with God on your side, you will emerge victorious, unscathed, and ready for the promotion that lies ahead. You are not just feeling physical exhaustion or the weight of fatigue when those sudden waves of discomfort wash over you. These sensations are not mere coincidences. They are spiritual alerts, your body's way of telling you that something is amiss in the unseen realms. The heaviness you feel, that inexplicable tension in your chest, or the tightness in your jaw when you hear their name or feel their presence. It is your spirit sending you an urgent warning. It's not just your mind reacting to stress or anxiety. It is the very essence of who you are, your intuition, your connection to God, trying to protect you from something far greater than what meets the eye. In these moments, the body becomes a vessel of divine awareness, alerting you that an unseen battle is underway. These are not mere physical symptoms. They are the spiritual wake-up calls you need to take seriously. This is a time to pause, to lean in, and to listen to what your spirit is telling you. These feelings are not random. They are the first signals that a spiritual ambush is being set in motion against you. It's a sign that the enemy is making its move, and your awareness is the key to navigating this crisis successfully. As unsettling as it may sound, the attack is already in progress. It's not a distant threat. It's happening right in your inner circle, with people you trust, people you care about deeply. The enemy doesn't always come at us from a place of open confrontation or direct opposition. More often than not, the enemy operates in the shadows, using the very people we love and rely on as vessels for its destructive plan. That's right. Those closest to you, those you've allowed into your space, into your heart, are being used as pawns in a greater spiritual game. This is the subtle, insidious nature of the enemy's attacks. He doesn't need to assault you from the outside. He infiltrates your defenses through relationships, through connections that are supposed to bring you peace, love, and comfort. The enemy knows that the best way to get to you is through the ones you trust most. These are the people who have access to your vulnerabilities, your deepest fears, and your insecurities. The very things that make you human and open to love are now being used against you to create chaos and spiritual dissonance in your life. But don't be deceived. This attack is not an accident. It is calculated and purposeful. The enemy is betting everything on your response. He wants you to react. He wants you to fall into the trap of defending yourself, of fighting back with the same emotions that he is using to manipulate you. This is the enemy's strategy. Provoke you until you lose control, until your spirit is shaken and your peace is stolen. He wants you to engage in the battle on his terms, where your emotions take the lead, and you react out of anger, frustration, or fear. But here's where the test comes. It's not about winning the argument or proving your point. The real test is whether you can see the trap for what it is and walk away with your spiritual peace intact. The enemy knows that if he can get you to engage, he can pull you into his web, causing you to spiral into confusion and turmoil. The question is, can you see beyond the surface and recognize the true nature of this attack? Can you resist the urge to react in the way that you always have? Can you stay centered and focused on your higher calling, knowing that victory is found in the stillness of your spirit? Right now, you are being called to focus on your spirit, not on your immediate physical reactions. It's easy to fall into the trap of reacting to the external stimulus, whether it's the words spoken to you or the behavior you are witnessing. But that's exactly where the enemy wants you, caught up in the whirlwind of emotion and reaction, blind to the bigger picture. What you need right now is spiritual clarity. You must look beyond the surface of the situation and see the truth of what is unfolding. This is where you can make all the difference. Instead of allowing yourself to be dragged into the battle, you can rise above it. You have the power to stay grounded, to stay connected to the peace of God, and to disengage from the enemy's influence. But in order to do this, you must shift your focus from your physical sensations to your spirit. The key to overcoming this ambush is to train yourself to see with spiritual eyes, to be aware of the tactics the enemy is using, and to remain calm and collected in the face of it. One powerful tool you can use right now is to visualize a shield of glass dropping between you and the person or situation that is triggering you. This shield is not a mere fantasy. It's a spiritual tool that will protect your heart and mind from being affected by the chaos around you. Picture it vividly in your mind. A transparent, unbreakable shield that stands firm between you and the attack. This shield is made of holy indifference, a divine protection that allows you to stand firm in your peace without being shaken by external circumstances. When you visualize this shield, you are essentially locking in your emotional and spiritual defense system. You are telling your spirit, "I will not be moved by this. I will not engage in the warfare. I will stay calm and observe." The more you practice this visualization, the more you will train yourself to remain untouchable in the midst of spiritual warfare. This shield becomes your armor, your divine protection, guarding your peace and your spirit from the attacks that are being hurled at you. It is not about avoiding the situation or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about rising above it, seeing it for what it is, and not allowing it to penetrate your inner world. In these moments of spiritual ambush, your peace is your greatest weapon. It is your shield, your refuge, and your strength. When you focus on protecting your spirit and refuse to engage with the bait, you will pass this test with victory. The enemy's goal is to pull you into his realm, to make you react emotionally and physically, so that you can be distracted from the higher purpose God has for you. But with your shield of glass, with your spiritual awareness, you can stand firm and walk away untouched. The enemy's weapons cannot harm you when you choose to protect your peace and stay connected to your higher purpose. It's time to rise above the attack, to take control of your response, and to trust that God is guiding you through this moment with grace, strength, and divine wisdom. The test you're facing right now is not what it seems. It's easy to think that the challenge before you is about winning an argument or defending your position. But that is exactly where the enemy wants you, caught in a battle of words, emotions, and distractions. This is not a test of your ability to outwit or outlast your adversary. This is not a challenge to prove you are right or justify your actions. No, the real test is much more subtle and far more profound. It's a test of your spiritual awareness, your ability to recognize the trap being set for you, and your courage to walk away from it without engaging. The enemy is not trying to defeat you through logic or strength. He's trying to ensnare you by pulling you into a cycle of emotional reaction. This is not about right or wrong, but about stepping into the peace of God and refusing to be pulled into the chaos. The test is not in the external situation, but in your internal response. Can you see the trap? Can you step away from the bait before it even has the chance to lure you in? That's where the true victory lies. You need to understand that reacting emotionally to this situation, as tempting as it may be, comes with consequences far greater than just a momentary conflict. The immediate satisfaction of defending yourself, of standing your ground, might seem like a victory in the heat of the moment, but it's an illusion. The real cost comes in the long-term repercussions of engaging emotionally. Every time you react impulsively, every time you allow yourself to get caught in the whirlwind of anger or frustration, you delay your own progress. Reacting out of emotion traps you in a cycle that keeps you circling back to the same struggles, the same confrontations, the same unresolved issues. You may feel as though you've won the battle for that moment, but in reality, you've simply delayed your growth, your spiritual elevation, and your movement forward. Each emotional reaction pulls you away from your divine path and keeps you entangled in cycles that God never intended for you to repeat. The real tragedy is that each reaction, each argument, each emotional response keeps you from advancing into the greater things that God has in store for you. The enemy's goal is to keep you stuck, to keep you from stepping into the promotion that is rightfully yours. He knows that if he can get you to react, he can stop you from moving forward. This is the cost of emotional reaction: delayed blessings, missed opportunities, and the unending cycle of spiritual stagnation. So, how do you pass this test? The solution is simpler than you might think, but it requires discipline and spiritual awareness. The key to overcoming this test is staying calm, grounded, and spiritually aware. When the bait is presented to you, when the emotions begin to rise and the temptation to react creeps in, you must pause. You must choose to stay centered in your peace, knowing that your emotions do not control you. Your spirit does. The solution lies in recognizing that you are not the victim of this situation. The moment you start reacting emotionally, you give away your power. But when you stay calm, when you choose to maintain spiritual awareness, you take control of the situation. It's about shifting your focus from the immediate emotional triggers to the higher spiritual perspective. When you refuse to react in the way the enemy expects, you disarm the situation. You step into a place of divine authority, where you no longer are controlled by the external forces around you. This is how you pass the test. It's not by winning the argument, not by justifying yourself or defending your actions. It's by seeing the situation for what it truly is: a trap. The key is to recognize the trap before it springs and walk away from it. To do that, you need to develop a deeper sense of spiritual awareness. You need to be able to discern the spiritual dynamics at play and understand that your peace, your calm, is the most powerful weapon you have. The enemy cannot defeat you if you refuse to engage. To achieve this, you must train yourself to recognize the trap as soon as it appears. This requires developing a heightened sense of spiritual discernment. When the temptation to react arises, you need to shift your focus inward, tuning in to your spirit rather than your emotions. Visualize the shield of glass you created earlier and allow it to drop between you and the situation. Feel the weight of the peace of God settling over you. As you do this, take a deep breath and center yourself. Allow yourself to detach from the emotional charge of the situation. This is the moment where the power is in your hands. Do not allow the enemy to pull you into the conflict. Step back. Refuse to take the bait. Walk away from the emotional charge and into the peace of God. The more you practice this, the more naturally it will come to you. You'll find that, over time, the traps become less effective because your reaction to them has shifted. The enemy will try to bait you, but you will no longer be enticed. You will stand firm in the peace of God, and the trap will be broken before it even has the chance to take hold. This is the ultimate victory: recognizing the trap and refusing to be ensnared by it. By staying calm and spiritually aware, you not only pass the test, but you also accelerate your progress. Each time you choose peace over reaction, you are stepping closer to the breakthrough that God has for you. You are aligning yourself with God's purpose for your life, and in doing so, you are creating space for His blessings to flow freely into your life. The more you practice this spiritual discipline, the more you will see the traps that the enemy sets, and the easier it will be to avoid them. This is not just about surviving the moment. It's about thriving, about moving forward in God's will for your life with wisdom, peace, and strength. The test you are facing today is not a setback. It is the opportunity for you to rise to a higher level of spiritual maturity and to move closer to the fullness of the divine purpose that God has destined for you. Remember, the key is not to react, but to respond with calm, clarity, and spiritual awareness. This is how you pass the test, and this is how you unlock the path to your divine promotion. Now that you understand the test and the consequences of reacting emotionally, it's time to equip yourself with the tools for success. The first step in this process is to visualize your protection. It might sound simple, but in reality, visualization is one of the most powerful spiritual tools you can use in moments of attack. Picture it clearly in your mind. A shield of glass, crystal clear and unbreakable, falling into place between you and the situation or person trying to provoke you. This is not just a random image. It is a divinely inspired shield, crafted from the peace of God that transcends all understanding. It is the perfect barrier between your spirit and the emotional chaos trying to creep in. As the shield settles, you feel its weightlessness, but you also sense its impenetrability. Nothing can penetrate this shield unless you allow it. This glass shield acts as a filter, ensuring that only peace and divine clarity can reach you, while all anger, frustration, or temptation to react are blocked. The enemy's words, the provocations, and the emotional triggers simply slide off this shield like water off a duck's back. It's a form of spiritual armor, designed not to block your view, but to protect your heart, to keep you from being pulled into unnecessary battles. As you practice this visualization, you'll find that it becomes second nature. The moment you feel the temptation to engage emotionally, you can immediately call forth that shield. This is your divine protection, a gift from God that will allow you to walk through any storm without being swayed by it. Every time you use this shield, you are reinforcing your spiritual defense system and building an unshakable foundation of peace that the enemy can no longer disrupt. With this protection in place, you are ready to receive your spiritual survival guide, the essential download that will give you the wisdom to navigate this test with success. Just as a soldier prepares for battle by knowing their strategy, you too must prepare spiritually for what lies ahead. In this download, you will receive the neurological key to managing your emotions. You will understand how to remain calm and centered, even when your physical body is screaming for a reaction. This isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending they don't exist. It's about managing them with spiritual awareness. You'll learn to recognize when the enemy is trying to trigger you, and more importantly, you'll learn how to resist the urge to engage with the bait. In this download, you will also receive a specific protocol for handling the 3 types of bait that the enemy will use to provoke you. The first type is the guilt bait, when someone tries to hook your empathy with accusations like, "After everything I've done for you," or "You've changed." These are attempts to make you feel responsible for their emotional state, to get you to explain yourself or justify your actions. Your new response? Silence. You do not need to explain, defend, or justify your choices. Silence here is your weapon. When you stay silent, you are declaring that only God has the right to judge you, and you will not be dragged into a cycle of guilt or self-doubt. The second type is the gaslight bait. This is when someone tries to distort reality, making you question your own perceptions or sanity. They may deny things they've said or done, or claim that you are imagining things. Your response to this is to disengage mentally. Step back in your mind and observe the situation as if you are watching a movie. You know the truth, and God knows the truth, so there is no need to argue or try to correct them. The third type is the chaos bait. This is when someone creates a crisis out of thin air, often on days that are important to you, like birthdays, promotions, or holidays. They will do everything in their power to ruin your moment and pull you into their drama. Your response here is to stay in your joy. You see the situation for what it is, a distraction, and you refuse to allow it to steal your peace. These protocols are your divine survival tactics. With these tools in hand, you will be able to disarm the enemy's attacks and navigate the emotional battlefield with wisdom and clarity. But none of these tools will be effective if you are not fully focused on receiving them. It is vital that you stay tuned in and committed to the full download. Victoria is not just about understanding the tools. It's about receiving them and applying them with complete focus. In this moment, it is essential that you give yourself fully to this process, allowing God's wisdom to fill your spirit without distraction. When you are focused, you are in alignment with God's perfect will for your life. Distractions will come, temptations will rise, and the enemy will try to pull you back into the noise. But it is in your stillness and your focus that you will find true strength. Your victory depends on your ability to receive the full download, to allow the wisdom, peace, and protection of God to fill every part of your being. When you focus, when you open your heart to the guidance God is providing, you will be able to activate the shield of glass, recognize the bait, and walk away from the trap without hesitation. The enemy wants to keep you distracted and off course, but your focus is your power. This is the moment where your spiritual growth accelerates, where your ability to respond to conflict with calmness and clarity becomes the new normal. When you stay focused, you are aligning yourself with the higher purpose God has for you. And the victory will not just be a fleeting success. It will be a lasting transformation that propels you forward into the destiny God has prepared for you. Keep your eyes on the prize, stay spiritually aware, and receive the full download that will equip you to pass this test and rise into the next level of your divine purpose. When you experience betrayal, especially from someone close to you, the impact isn't just emotional or spiritual, it is physical. You may find your body reacting in ways you cannot control, as if your very being is under attack. The knot in your stomach, the tightness in your chest, or the tension in your jaw. All these are physical manifestations of the emotional pain you're experiencing. Betrayal triggers a visceral reaction in your body, reminding you that you are not just fighting a mental battle, but a battle that touches every part of who you are. These physical symptoms are your body's way of processing the shock and hurt, but they are also a reminder that what you are going through is not just a random, fleeting experience. This is a spiritual warfare, one that will require your full awareness and wisdom to overcome. When you feel that familiar tension in your muscles, the discomfort in your gut, or the heat rising in your chest, understand that these sensations are signals. They are telling you that something has shifted in your spiritual environment, and the attack is real. It's not just your mind playing tricks on you. It's your body's natural response to betrayal. These physical cues are your early warning signs, telling you that you need to remain vigilant and aware of what's happening around you and inside you. Rather than letting these sensations overwhelm you, take them as a call to action. They are an opportunity for you to go deeper into your spiritual armor and stand firm in the peace of God. refusing to let the enemy use these feelings to shake your foundation. This experience of betrayal is not new, nor is it unique to you alone. In Psalm 41:9, David, a man after God's own heart, cries out, "Even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me." This verse is a profound reminder of the deep pain that comes from betrayal by those closest to us. David wasn't talking about strangers or enemies in the traditional sense. He was speaking of someone he trusted, someone he had shared intimate moments with, someone he had broken bread with. In the culture of the time, sharing bread was the ultimate symbol of trust and fellowship. To betray someone after sharing such a sacred bond was a betrayal of the highest order. Jesus himself referenced this very psalm during the Last Supper, when he spoke of Judas's betrayal. Judas, one of his closest followers, had broken the sacred bond of fellowship, and it caused Jesus a great deal of anguish. This parallel should not be lost on you. The betrayal you're experiencing is not just a random act. It is a deep and calculated attack designed to hurt you at your core. It's the people you trust the most, the ones who have access to your heart and soul, who can cause the greatest pain. And yet, despite the deep pain, we are reminded through Scripture that betrayal is not a sign of abandonment or defeat. Instead, it is a part of the spiritual journey, a test that God allows to refine us, to shape us, and to prepare us for something greater. Just as Jesus faced his moment of betrayal before his crucifixion and resurrection, you too are facing a spiritual test that has the potential to lead you to a greater purpose. Understanding that betrayal often comes from those closest to us can be a difficult pill to swallow, but it is also crucial to your growth and spiritual maturity. This is not a random attack, nor is it something that should be taken personally in the sense of questioning your worth or value. Betrayal from within your inner circle is a spiritual test, a refining fire that God allows to shape you into the person you are meant to become. The enemy does not need to attack you from the outside if he can infiltrate your life through someone you love and trust. This type of betrayal is particularly effective because it shakes you at your foundation, pulling at your most vulnerable places. But it is also in these moments that you have the greatest opportunity for spiritual growth. You can either choose to respond with anger, frustration, and emotional reaction, or you can choose to rise above the pain and see it as part of the divine process that God is using to refine you. Remember, the attack is not a sign that God has abandoned you. It is the final step in your preparation, the test that proves your readiness for the promotion that is waiting for you. Just as Joseph's brothers betrayed him right before his journey to the palace began, just as David faced Saul's attempts on his life right before he took the throne, and just as Jesus faced betrayal before his ultimate victory on the cross, you too are standing on the threshold of a breakthrough. The betrayal is a confirmation that you are closer than ever to stepping into the destiny God has for you. This is not a random attack. It is a divine setup, a test that will propel you to the next level if you respond with wisdom, grace, and spiritual maturity. Embrace this moment and understand that it is shaping you for a greater purpose. Let it refine you and prepare you for what lies ahead. The victory is in your hands if you choose to walk through this with the full awareness that God is with you, even in the darkest moments. To truly understand what's happening in the spiritual realm, you must first recognize the mechanism behind this warfare. It's not just an external attack, it's something far more insidious. Something that often feels like you're standing alone in a place you should feel the safest. This is what I call domestic alienation. It's a feeling of disconnection, of being out of place, even when you're surrounded by those you love and trust. It's as though the very air around you has shifted, and you're walking through your own life as if it no longer belongs to you. You feel like an alien in your own home, in your own workplace, or within your own circle. This is the work of spiritual warfare. The enemy doesn't always come in the form of an obvious enemy. Sometimes, it manifests as a strange sense of isolation, confusion, and unrest in places where you should feel safe and at peace. You might be sitting at the dinner table with your family, yet feel like you've been dropped into enemy territory. You might be surrounded by friends and loved ones, yet feel completely alone. This dissonance is the enemy's attempt to destabilize you, to make you question your identity and your place in the world. It's a tactic designed to make you feel disconnected from everything that once brought you comfort, leaving you vulnerable to spiritual attack. This is the essence of domestic alienation, a feeling that you no longer belong, even in spaces you once thought were your sanctuary. The most difficult part of this experience is recognizing that those closest to you, the ones you love deeply, might be unwittingly used as vessels for this spiritual attack. The enemy is subtle. He doesn't always use external forces to target you. Often, he works through people you care about the most. These are the people who have access to your heart, your vulnerabilities, your fears, and your strengths. The enemy knows that if he can cause division or confusion in your closest relationships, he can shake your foundation and make you feel unsteady in every area of your life. This doesn't mean that these individuals are evil or intentionally trying to harm you. It simply means they have become vessels for spiritual warfare without even knowing it. Their unhealed wounds, their insecurities, or their lack of spiritual awareness make them susceptible to the enemy's influence. The enemy knows how to infiltrate your life by using people who, on the surface, seem harmless. He can exploit their weaknesses and manipulate them into creating chaos in your life. This is the tragedy of spiritual warfare. It often doesn't come from strangers, but from those you love, trust, and depend on. The people you never would have suspected may suddenly become instruments of distraction, division, and disruption, all while remaining unaware of the role they're playing. This realization can be painful, but it's essential to understand that their actions are not necessarily personal. They are being used in a battle they don't even know they're fighting. And while it might feel like they are the enemy, the true enemy is the spiritual force behind the scenes, trying to manipulate and control the situation. Now, let's delve into the enemy's strategy. The enemy's primary goal is to disrupt your progress, to prevent you from moving forward into the purpose and destiny God has for you. He doesn't always come with obvious attacks. Instead, he often works from within, using the very people you've let into your heart as a way to create chaos in your life. His strategy is to cause division and confusion within your inner circle, to make you feel emotionally and spiritually destabilized. By using people you love, the enemy creates a web of distractions that pull you off course, keeping you from stepping into the next level of your calling. The key here is to recognize that the enemy's ultimate goal is not just to hurt you, but to prevent you from fulfilling your purpose. He knows that your breakthrough is just around the corner, and he will use whatever means necessary to keep you from moving forward. Whether it's stirring up conflict between you and those closest to you, planting seeds of doubt in your mind, or causing emotional turbulence in your relationships, the enemy's tactics are meant to create an environment of chaos. But here's the truth. The chaos is not the end. It's the beginning. The enemy uses chaos as a distraction, but it is through that very chaos that God will refine you. If you stay focused, If you recognize the enemy's tactics and refuse to engage with them, you will not only withstand the attack, but you will rise stronger on the other side. The enemy's strategy is to keep you distracted and confused. But God's strategy is to use the same situations that the enemy intended for harm to propel you forward into your destiny. This is why it's so important to stay spiritually aware, to keep your focus on God and His promises, even when the chaos around you seems overwhelming. The enemy is attempting to manipulate you, but you have the power to stand firm, to recognize the trap, and to walk away unscathed. This is your moment to rise above the spiritual warfare, to step into your calling with confidence, knowing that God is with you in every battle. You might be wondering why this attack, this betrayal, is happening now, just when you were finally starting to feel the winds of change, when you were getting ready to move forward in your life. Let me assure you that this attack is not a sign of failure or abandonment. It is, in fact, a powerful confirmation that you are on the verge of something incredible. The enemy doesn't target those who are standing still. He targets those who are about to move forward into their destiny. The betrayal you're experiencing is a spiritual signal that you are about to enter a significant promotion, a breakthrough that will elevate you to a new level. Think about it. If you weren't moving forward, the enemy wouldn't waste his energy trying to derail you. But because you are on the edge of something great, because you are about to step into the fullness of God's plan for your life, the enemy is doing everything he can to keep you from crossing that threshold. This is a time to rejoice, not despair. What you're experiencing is the final test before the breakthrough that God has already ordained for you. The attack is confirmation that you are so close to your promotion that the enemy is trying to stop you with everything he has. But let me tell you this, his attempts will fail. You are too far along in your journey, and God's plan for your life cannot be thwarted. Keep moving forward, because the attack you're facing right now is only a sign that the victory is just around the corner. This pattern of betrayal before a major promotion is not something new. It is woven throughout the very fabric of Scripture, seen in the lives of those who have gone before you. Take Joseph, for example. Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, and left for dead. But it was precisely through this betrayal that God positioned him to become second in command in Egypt, saving nations from famine. His journey was not one of smooth sailing, but one of trials, setbacks, and betrayals that ultimately led to his promotion. If Joseph had allowed the betrayal to break him, if he had given in to anger, bitterness, or despair, he never would have reached the palace. It was through his ability to withstand betrayal and stay faithful to God that Joseph rose to the place where he could fulfill his divine purpose. The same principle applies to your situation. The betrayal you are experiencing is not the end. It is the stepping stone to your breakthrough. You are on the verge of entering a new season, one of promotion and spiritual elevation. And this test is the final qualification before you step into that next level. Look at David, another example of betrayal before promotion. David was anointed king as a young man, but he had to endure betrayal after betrayal before taking the throne. His father-in-law, King Saul, threw spears at him, and his own friends turned against him. Yet through it all, David remained steadfast in his trust in God. Despite the attacks, David knew that God had anointed him for greatness, and he refused to retaliate or take matters into his own hands. His ability to endure betrayal and stay faithful to his calling ultimately led him to the throne. David's story shows us that betrayal is not a sign of God's abandonment. It is a sign that you are being tested before your promotion. When you are called to a greater purpose, the enemy will use betrayal as a weapon to try to keep you from walking into your destiny. But if you can withstand the attack, if you can remain true to your faith and trust in God's timing, you will emerge stronger and ready for the promotion He has prepared for you. And then there is Jesus, the ultimate example of betrayal before promotion. Jesus was betrayed by one of His closest disciples, Judas, and handed over to be crucified. Yet, it was through His betrayal that the greatest promotion in history took place, the resurrection and the salvation of humanity. Jesus' journey shows us that betrayal is often the prelude to the greatest spiritual victories. Just like David and Joseph, Jesus' betrayal did not signify abandonment. It signified the final act of obedience before the fulfillment of His divine purpose. Your betrayal is not a sign that God has abandoned you. It is a sign that you are on the cusp of fulfilling the divine purpose He has for your life. The enemy's goal is to derail you, but God's purpose will prevail. If you can endure this moment with faith, you will step into a new season of spiritual elevation and blessing. Betrayal is one of the most painful experiences you can face, but it is also one of the most significant in your spiritual journey. Understand that betrayal is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of qualification. God allows these attacks to refine you, to strengthen your character, and to prepare you for the greater responsibility that your promotion will bring. The test you're facing right now is the final qualification before your spiritual elevation. This is your moment to rise above the hurt, to walk in forgiveness, and to trust that God is using this situation to propel you into the fullness of your calling. Keep your eyes on the prize, because your promotion is near. The enemy may try to derail you, but he cannot stop what God has already ordained. You are moving forward, and nothing can hold you back. The breakthrough is coming, and your victory is assured. There is a misconception that silence alone will help you pass the test, that if you simply hold your tongue and refrain from speaking, you've somehow won the battle. It's a common belief, but it is one that can be deeply misleading. Many think that the key to handling conflict is to keep quiet, to just grin and bear it, hoping that if they don't say anything, the situation will resolve itself. But here's the hard truth. Silence without internal peace is still a form of engagement in the spiritual warfare. The enemy doesn't need you to speak to engage with you. He needs you to react. The truth is, the enemy is not listening to your words. What he's reading, what he's sensing, is the energy and frequency of your spirit. The way you respond internally in your thoughts and emotions is far more important than whether or not you say a word. You can sit in complete silence, but if your heart is racing, if your blood is boiling, if your thoughts are consumed with anger or frustration, you are still engaged in the battle. Silence is not enough. The enemy will use your internal turmoil to fuel the attack. This is why silence without peace is not true victory. If your heart and spirit are still caught up in the conflict, you are feeding the very energy that the enemy is trying to provoke in you. It is only when you pair silence with holy indifference that you truly disengage from the spiritual battle. When you can sit in silence and feel no emotional or spiritual attachment to the provocation. When you can be unmoved by what is happening around you. That is where the real victory lies. To truly win this battle, you must learn to quiet your inner turmoil. It's not just about holding your tongue, it's about mastering your spirit. The enemy's strategy is to trigger your emotional responses, to pull you into a reactive state where your energy is consumed by anger, frustration, or hurt. But when you stay calm, When you maintain peace in your spirit, you remove the enemy's power. The battle is won not in the words you say, but in the energy you project. If your internal energy is calm, centered, and peaceful, the enemy has no foothold. The key here is holy indifference. Holy indifference is not the same as apathy or detachment from the situation. It is a divine peace that allows you to observe the situation without becoming emotionally entangled in it. It is a state of spiritual detachment where you can see the provocation for what it is, a distraction, a trap, and choose not to let it affect you. This is not about denying your feelings or suppressing your emotions. It's about recognizing the power you have over them. When you choose holy indifference, you choose to let go of the need to be understood, the need to defend yourself, and the need to engage in the battle. You choose to remain steady, unaffected, and focused on your higher purpose. This is the true essence of spiritual victory, the ability to stand firm in your peace no matter what is happening around you. Now, let's talk about how to practically apply this. First, it's essential to recognize when you are being triggered emotionally. This is the moment when you must consciously decide to disengage from the emotional response. When you feel your heart rate rise, when you feel the tension in your body, take a deep breath and ground yourself. Close your eyes for a moment if you need to, and visualize that shield of glass that you created earlier. See it dropping between you and the situation. As you do, feel the tension in your body begin to melt away. Remind yourself that you do not need to react. You are not required to defend yourself, to explain yourself, or to justify your actions. The only thing required of you is to maintain your peace. Now, in your mind, begin to repeat the affirmation: I am in control of my spirit. I choose peace. I choose to observe, not react. You will find that as you repeat this, your body begins to relax and your mind becomes clearer. This is how you maintain spiritual authority in the midst of conflict. You are no longer controlled by the situation. You are the one in control. As you practice this, you will begin to notice how much power you have over your internal state. The more you choose peace, the more naturally it will come to you. You will be able to sit in silence without feeling the need to justify your actions or defend yourself, because your spirit will be anchored in peace. The key is to break free from the need to react. You don't have to respond to every provocation, and you don't have to give your energy to every conflict. When you learn to quiet your inner turmoil, you disarm the enemy. Your peace becomes your weapon, and it is a weapon that no one can take from you. This is the victory that God has promised you, not in the battle of words or arguments, but in the stillness of your spirit, where you remain unmoved by the enemy's attacks. The more you practice this, the more you will find yourself standing strong, unshaken, and at peace, no matter what is happening around you. You will become the observer, not the reactor. And in that place of peace, you will find the true strength to overcome every spiritual battle. Understanding the science of peace is crucial in overcoming the emotional and spiritual challenges that life throws at you. Often, when you find yourself triggered by a situation or betrayal, your body and mind are pulled into what is known as the high beta state. In this state, you are in a constant fight or flight mode. Your amygdala is on high alert, flooding your body with adrenaline and cortisol, preparing you to react to the perceived threat. In this state, your thinking becomes clouded, and your ability to hear God's voice or respond with clarity is greatly diminished. This is the space where most of us operate in when we're caught in conflict, stress, or anxiety. The high beta state is an emotional and physical reaction to the world around you. It's a survival mode that keeps you in constant tension, often reacting impulsively and emotionally. But this is not the space where true peace and spiritual awareness reside. The key to overcoming these moments and stepping into divine peace is to shift your brainwave state from high beta into theta. Theta is the brainwave state associated with deep relaxation, creativity, and spiritual connection. It's the state where miracles happen. It's where you are fully present, open to hearing God's guidance, and aligned with His peace. When you enter theta, you are no longer driven by impulse or fear. You are calm, collected, and spiritually aware. The key to shifting from beta to theta, from chaos to peace, is finding a tool that can quickly guide your brain into this higher state of awareness. This is where the Genius Wave comes in. The Genius Wave is a unique sound frequency designed to help you shift your brainwave state in just 7 minutes. This tool is not a mere relaxation technique. It's a spiritual tool that will help you transition from the high beta state, where your body is in survival mode, into theta, where you are aligned with your highest spiritual purpose. The Genius Wave works by gently guiding your brain into a state of deep relaxation and peace, allowing you to silence the chaos within and step into a place of calm, where you are spiritually connected and aware. In just 7 minutes, this sound frequency helps reset your nervous system, calming your body and mind, and allowing you to experience divine peace. This shift from beta to theta is not just a physiological change, it is a spiritual transformation. It is a biblical concept, one that aligns perfectly with the teaching in Romans 12:2, where Paul encourages us to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This transformation is not just about changing your thoughts, but about shifting your entire perception of reality to align with God's will. When you move from the high beta state to the theta state, you are doing exactly what Romans 12:2 describes. You are renewing your mind. You are recalibrating your mental and emotional state to align with divine wisdom and peace. This is a state where you can hear the Holy Spirit clearly, where your spiritual eyes and ears are open, and where you can receive guidance from God without the static noise of survival mode drowning out His voice. This transformation of the mind is not just about thinking differently, but about allowing your entire being to be tuned to a higher frequency, the frequency of God's will. When you're in theta, you are no longer operating from a place of fear or reaction. You are operating from a place of divine alignment, peace, and wisdom. By using the Genius Wave to shift your brain into theta, you are opening yourself to a deeper level of spiritual awareness. This is not just a tool for relaxation. It's a tool for spiritual transformation. As you regularly use this tool, you will find that you are able to move through life's challenges with greater ease and peace. You will no longer be overwhelmed by the emotional triggers that once led you into chaos. Instead, you will be able to remain calm, centered, and spiritually aware no matter what is happening around you. This is the transformation that God desires for you. A transformation that allows you to step into the fullness of your purpose and calling, without being held back by the distractions and chaos of the world. You are not meant to live in constant fight or flight mode. You are meant to live in alignment with God's will, to experience His peace, and to move through life with clarity and confidence. The Genius Wave is a tool that helps you do just that. It helps you align your body, mind, and spirit with God's frequency, so that you can walk in peace, wisdom, and divine purpose. As you continue to practice this shift from beta to theta, you will find that the challenges and conflicts that once triggered you will no longer have the same power over you. You will become more resilient, more spiritually aware, and more in tune with God's voice. This is the ultimate goal: to live in a constant state of spiritual connection and peace, where your mind and heart are aligned with God's will and His purpose for your life. When you are in Theta, you are operating from your highest self, the self that is connected to God's wisdom, peace, and guidance. You are no longer at the mercy of external circumstances. You are operating from a place of divine authority. This is the power of spiritual transformation, and it begins with shifting your brain into Theta. This is where miracles happen. This is where your true spiritual potential is unlocked. Let the genius wave be the key that opens this door for you, and step into the divine peace and spiritual awareness that is waiting for you. As you move through life's challenges, it's important to recognize a deeper truth about yourself. Some of us are subconsciously addicted to chaos. It sounds strange, doesn't it? Why would anyone crave turmoil, stress, and emotional upheaval? Yet, for many, this is the hidden pattern that drives their reactions. The truth is that our bodies and minds have been conditioned to react to conflict. From a young age, we are taught to respond, to fight, to argue, to stand our ground, or to seek resolution at all costs. We become accustomed to the emotional highs and lows that come with conflict. For some, these emotional surges provide a strange sense of vitality, a rush that mimics the feeling of being alive. In a world that often moves too fast or too superficially, conflict can feel like the only real connection, the only thing that awakens the senses. This craving for chaos doesn't come from a place of desire for destruction. It comes from a deeper place of insecurity, where peace feels uncomfortable or even foreign. When we've spent so much of our lives navigating the stormy seas of conflict, peace can feel out of reach, too still, too quiet. In this way, we become addicted to the rush, the drama, and the constant back and forth of emotional struggle. But here's the critical realization. This addiction to chaos is not a sign of strength or vitality. It is a symptom of spiritual disconnection, a failure to recognize the deeper peace that lies beneath the surface of all external conflict. Your true power lies not in your ability to fight, but in your ability to remain still, calm, and undisturbed by the noise around you. It is time to break free from the cycle of chaos, to recognize it for what it is, and to choose a new path. Breaking the cycle begins with a shift in mindset. The enemy wants you to stay in the loop of reaction, where you are constantly pulled into emotional warfare, constantly fighting for validation, for control, or for victory. But you are not meant to live in reaction. You were created to be an observer, to watch the world unfold without feeling the need to engage in every fight. The moment you identify with the victim mentality, you are surrendering your power. The enemy knows this, which is why he tries so hard to provoke you into reacting. He wants you to feel powerless, to feel like everything happening around you is happening to you. But you are not the victim. You are the observer. When you choose to step out of the emotional whirlwind, to detach from the chaos, you are taking back your power. You are no longer at the mercy of other people's actions, words, or drama. Instead, you are standing in your own spiritual authority, observing with clarity and peace. The key is to embrace your identity as an observer, not a reactor. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to engage with every provocation. You can choose to step back, to look at the situation from a higher perspective, and to move forward without being dragged into the emotional turmoil. This shift is not passive. It is an active choice to reclaim your peace and your power. Spiritual victory is found in this very choice, the decision to walk in peace and not engage in the emotional warfare. The enemy wants you to feel as though you need to prove yourself, to fight back, to defend your honor. But in doing so, you are playing into his hands. The true victory comes when you refuse to engage. It comes when you remain anchored in your peace, no matter what is happening around you. When you make the conscious choice to disengage from the chaos, you are stepping into a new level of spiritual strength. You are showing the enemy that his tactics will not work on you. You are proving that your peace is not for sale, that your spirit is not for manipulation. When you choose peace, you rise above the situation. You stop reacting and start responding from a place of spiritual wisdom and strength. The enemy may try to provoke you, but you are no longer a pawn in his game. You are the one in control, standing firm in your peace, watching the situation unfold without being swept away by it. This is where true spiritual victory lies, not in winning the argument, but in walking away with your peace intact. When you choose to remain calm, centered, and undisturbed, you are not just winning the moment, you are winning the battle. The victory is in your ability to stay grounded in the peace of God, to refuse to be moved by the chaos around you. This is the mark of true spiritual maturity, the ability to observe, to detach, and to walk in peace no matter the circumstances. And in doing so, you align yourself with God's will for your life, stepping into the fullness of your purpose without being hindered by the distractions of emotional warfare. In this new space, you become untouchable. The enemy's tricks no longer work on you because you've chosen to rise above them. You've broken free from the cycle of chaos, and you've embraced your true identity as a peaceful observer, connected to God's wisdom and purpose. As you continue to practice this shift, you will find that peace becomes your default state. You will no longer be drawn into every emotional battle. Instead, you will remain anchored in your spiritual strength, moving through life with clarity, purpose, and an unwavering sense of peace. This is the spiritual victory God has for you. Victory not through fighting, but through choosing peace. And in that peace, you will find strength, wisdom, and a greater sense of connection to God's divine plan for your life. As we close this moment, I want you to take a deep breath and center yourself. You've gone through the spiritual preparation, you've recognized the traps, and now it's time to seal the victory. This moment is not just another fleeting experience. It's a defining moment in your spiritual journey. It's time to affirm your victory over every attack, every betrayal, every scheme the enemy tried to set before you. You have the power to walk in peace, to stand firm in the face of adversity, and to remain anchored in God's unshakable peace. Let's take a moment to affirm that victory together. I want you to repeat this powerful declaration, not just with your words, but with the full conviction of your spirit. I declare that I am victorious in every situation that the enemy tries to use against me. I affirm that I am not a victim, but a victor. I choose peace over chaos, silence over anger, and wisdom over reaction. I stand firm in my divine purpose, knowing that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I am the rock, immovable, steadfast, and grounded in the peace of God. I claim my victory, and I seal it in the name of Jesus. Feel the weight of these words resonate in your spirit as you affirm your place of strength, peace, and spiritual victory. The enemy has no power over you anymore. You have already won. Now, as we move forward, let's bring this affirmation into focus by visualizing the shield of holy indifference that you've learned to call upon in times of attack. Picture this shield falling between you and any negativity, any conflict, or any distraction that seeks to pull you away from your peace. Visualize it as a solid, transparent barrier that cannot be broken. This shield is not just a symbol, It is a divine protection created by your spiritual focus and your trust in God's peace. See it surrounding your mind, guarding your thoughts from the distractions of anger and frustration. See it covering your heart, protecting it from the wounds of betrayal and hurt. With this shield in place, no weapon formed against you can reach its target. Every attack, every provocation, every emotional trigger simply bounces off, unable to penetrate your divine protection. As you picture this shield, feel a deep sense of calm wash over you. Your spirit is safe. Your mind is clear. Your peace is unshaken. You are sealed in God's peace, and no external force can touch it. As you stand in this victory, I want to invite you to take one final step. Affirm your readiness for the test, for the challenges that may still arise, knowing that you are now equipped with the wisdom and tools to overcome them. The enemy may try to pull you back into old patterns, but you are no longer the person you were before this moment. You have risen above the chaos, and now you walk in divine authority and peace. To seal this victory, I invite you to type, "I am the rock," in the comments below. By doing so, you are publicly declaring your readiness to face whatever comes your way with peace, wisdom, and strength. You are choosing to be the observer, not the reactor, to stand firm in your spiritual power, and to walk in the fullness of your purpose. This is your moment to affirm that you are ready for the test, and that you will not be moved by the challenges ahead. You are unshakable. You are the rock. You are victorious.